Oh hello there, I'm Professor Hoenn and we're back with another Reverse Oak Challenge video. Last time we tackled Kanto and Let's Go Eevee and we were able to avoid seeing 42% of the Pokedex while completing the game. Not a bad effort, but let's see if we can do better in Johto. If you missed my previous Reverse Oak video, basically our challenge is to see the least number of Pokemon by the end of the game. Like last time, this means avoiding as many trainers as possible. But as this isn't one of the Pokemon games on the Switch, we can't see Mons in the overworld, and so we'll be resetting the game against any wild encounters we come across. Otherwise, a perfect run could be messed up by encountering a wild Sentret at the start of the game. So, what are the rules? We have to avoid as many Pokemon as we can before each gym and the end of the game. Only Pokemon that are registered in the Pokedex count, so seeing them in the overworld won't affect our total. And we can reset the game if I accidentally trigger a battle I'm not meant to. Other than that, we play the game as normal, so that means no glitches or exploits. I'm recording this section before I start the Reverse Oak Challenge. Why not comment down below to let me know how many Pokemon you think we'll see in this challenge by the time I finish the game. Unlike the previous Reverse Oak Challenge, we get to choose our starter. We can pick Chikorita, Cyndaquil, or Totodile. And as no other trainers in the game use these Pokemon, you'd probably think we can pick any of these without it making a difference to our seeing total. Well, there's actually a correct Pokemon to pick here, and it's not my mascot. We picked Totodile, and I'll explain why later in this video. While we don't have the Pokedex yet, we'll add it to the total anyway. We make our way to Mr. Pokemon through the next two routes. We don't have the Pokedex yet, but any Pokemon we see before then will get automatically added once we receive it from Professor Oak, so the challenge has officially begun. We don't have a way to reduce our encounter rate through Repels or the Cleanse tag yet, so it's very likely that we'll run into wild Pokemon. So, how do we get around this? I save the game every few steps, so when we do get an encounter, we reset the game and try again. Next, we make our way back to Professor Elm and along the way come across our rival, who uses Chikorita, doubling our total. As I learned in my Let's Go Eevee run of this challenge, avoiding trainers and wild Pokemon will reduce the experience and money we gain, which will increase the difficulty of the main game. So, I'll provide a little bit of commentary on the more difficult battles through the challenge. Anyway, thanks to a critical hit, we easily take down Chikorita. On our way through Route 29, we encounter and catch a wild Pidgey, bringing our total to 3. It won't affect the final total, as Faulkner will use one anyway. There are 4 trainers between Cherry Grove City and Violet City, but you're only forced to battle Mikey, who has Pidgey and Rattata. In Violet City, we skip the optional Bellsprout Tower as I don't need HM Flash. This also means we avoid seeing Bellsprout and Hoothoot. We've battled a total of 2 trainers so far, and our Pokemon are severely underleveled. So, we probably stand a little chance of beating the Violet City gym leader, right? We take down both gym trainers and Faulkner on our first attempt by using Pidgey's stand attack and a combination of Rage and Tackle. Along the way, we encounter Spearow and Pidgeotto, so after the first gym we've encountered just 2.3% of the Pokedex. We make our way down Route 32 and along the way come across the one and only trainer that you have to fight, so we add Zubat to our total. Next up is Union Cave. The first trainer is a spinner who we dodge, so we avoid adding Onix to our total. We can't skip the next trainer though, a hiker with 3 Geodudes. It's a long battle as Totodile hasn't learnt Water Gun yet, so we have to rely on Rage. We had Vulpix before exiting the cave, as we're forced to battle our second and final trainer. We leave the cave and skip the 2 trainers on Route 33. Before we can take on the Azalea Town gym, we have to deal with Team Rocket and Slowpoke Well. All 4 trainers are mandatory here, but as usual Team Rocket, they use a lot of the same Pokemon, some of which we've already seen. New additions this time are Ekans and Koffing. With Team Rocket given the boot, we can head into the gym. Up first are the twins Amy and May, who use Ladybird and Spinarak. To progress, we can choose either the left or right path, which gives us a choice of which trains to battle. Going left will bring us to Bugcatcher Al and add Caterpie and Weedle to our total, whereas choosing the right path will only increase our total by 1, so we battle Josh and his Paris, bringing our total to 14. We skip the spinner just north of Bugsy, and with that, it's time to take on our second gym. As we caught Pidgey earlier in this run, the battle is a doddle thanks to Gust. We even mess up on our first turn by using Tackle. During the battle we had Metapod, Kakuna and Cypher. So, by the end of the second gym, we've seen just 17 Pokemon, or 6.7% of the Pokedex. When we try to leave Azalea Town, we're ambushed by our rival, who poses more of a challenge than Bugsy due to his diverse team. During the battle we fight some unseen Pokemon, Ghastly and Bayleaf. To progress past Ilex Forest, we need a mon that can learn Cut. We could teach it to Totodile, but I'd rather save its move slots for better moves. Thankfully, we saw Paris earlier in this run, and wouldn't you know it, it can learn Cut. Unfortunately, it can only be found during the morning with just a 15% encounter rate, so after plenty of walking and many soft resets, we catch a Paris. With Repels up and no trainers in Ilex Forest, we make our way through with no more encounters. We also make our way past Route 34 with no new encounters or trainer battles, as they can be avoided by walking through the grass. We head straight into the gym once we arrive at Goldenrod City. By taking the left path, you can skip both trainers. The third trainer is mandatory, so we see Snubbull, and by hugging the wall we can skip the fourth and final trainer. Now for Whitney. We're pretty much a two-mon team right now with Totodile and Pidgeotto. We've done well to comfortably get this far, considering we haven't grinded at all, but we all know how difficult Whitney's Miltank can be. My tactic is to use Totodile's Rage and hope that Clefairy uses Double Slap. This attack hits 2 to 5 times, and every time it connects, it increases the power of Rage too. A sound tactic which doesn't work as we get back-to-back losses thanks to a critical hit from Clefairy, and then on the second attempt, a Thunder from Metronome. Our team, if you can call it that, is so underleveled that we need to grind. On the previous route there are Wild Rattata, Drowsy, Abra and Ditto, but we've only seen Rattata so far, and I'm not sure we'll even encounter the others during this challenge. So grinding is a slow process as we only have a 35% chance of the wild Pokemon being a Rattata. I could have grinded more, but my hands were cramping from having to constantly hit Control and R to reset the emulator whenever we encounter the Pokemon we've not already seen. Even with the extra levels, it's a drawn-out fight as we haven't evolved Totodile. That's right, we can't get Croconaw as doing so would increase our Pokedex count by 1. Anyway, we eventually take down Whitney's Clefairy and Miltank and have seen just 22 Pokemon, or 8.7% of the Pokedex. With this section wrapped up, it's time to head to Route 35, and within the first few seconds on the route, we have our first mandatory trainer, but thankfully they use Vulpix, which we've already encountered. There are a further 5 trainers on this route, the 3 strangely placed trainers and the 2 spinners at the end, but we only need to fight Camper Ivan. Even though he uses 3 Pokemon, his only new one is Diglett. After the battle, our way forward is blocked, but by leaving and re-entering the route, the trainer resets to their original position, allowing us to pass without any more trainer battles. We exit the park and find ourselves on Route 36, where we find our path blocked by a mandatory trainer. Battling him would add Abra and Kadabra to our total. So instead we head back to Route 35 and take the path on the right. This cuts out National Park and brings us face to face with Bugcatcher Arnie and her Venonat. After we use Cut and re-enter Route 36, we can now avoid the 2 trainers just east of Sudowoodo. Speaking of which, it's a mandatory fight, so we hit 25 Pokemon seen. We continue north along Route 37. The only mandatory trainer is Greg with his Drowsy. Other than that, it's a clean run through to Ecruteak City. We head straight to the gym here, and as there are only 4 Ghost Pokemon in Gen 2, we don't increase our total by much. On the way to Morty, we battle Haunter multiple times, as well as Ghastly, which we've already encountered. Morty is the final obstacle, and we win on our first attempt thanks to some amazing strategy and luck. During the battle, we encounter and promptly thrashes Gengar, so we clear the 4th gym with just 28 Pokemon seen, or 11% of the Pokedex. Before making our way to the lighthouse, I take on the Kimono Girls, as I'll need to beat them at some point to claim HM Surf before we can take on the next gym. And it'll help to keep our Totodile competitive, as it's starting to fall behind in usefulness as we're unable to evolve him. This means we encounter all 5 evolutions: Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon. As this is Pokemon Gold, you can skip the rival battle in the Burnt Tower, which you can't do in Pokemon Crystal. So we head to Olivine City by heading through routes 38 and 39. There are no mandatory trainers here if you take the bottom path and avoid the spinners. While I show that on screen, let's talk about the difficulty of this game so far. Honestly, I'm surprised by how easy the battles have been, and other than our hiccup with Whitney, which is to be expected because, well, it's Whitney, the rest of the battles have been a breeze, only because we're relying on a small number of Pokemon, but I imagine we won't be able to clear the next few gyms without further grinding. As we arrive in Olivine City, our rival pops up, angry that we skipped our optional battle in the Burnt Tower. He says he'll forgive us, and you, as long as you leave a like on this video. There you go, the light plug is done and dusted. Let's move on. Making our way up Olivine City's lighthouse, we encounter Noctowl and Growlithe in 2 separate battles with gentleman trainers. Near the top, we also encounter Marill as a trainer stops us from dropping through one of the gaps until we beat her. All that remains is to avoid the spinner on the second to last floor, and we're done. The next city on our challenge is Signwood City, which requires us surfing across both routes 40 and 41. This is the main reason we chose Totodile, as it guarantees that we don't have to hunt down and catch a mon that can learn Surf, which runs the risk of us needlessly having to increase our total, hunting down a Pokemon that can learn it. Along the way, we can battle 14 trainers. I say can because we skip every single one of them. In the Signwood Gym, we have the biggest increase in our total so far in this challenge, as all trainers here are mandatory. The first few trainers use Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. I panic against Hitmonchan as it has a wide variety of elemental attacks which will wreck my team. So we do the only sensible thing possible. We use self-destruct. It's a good job this isn't a Nuzlocke. Before we can take on Chuck, we have to battle against one of the Black Belt Knob. Can I say that on my channel? Game Freak, come on! Anyway, he uses Machop and Machoke, the latter of which we can get past by using self-destruct again. I can't see us beating Chuck at this level. But first, we have one more trainer to beat who uses Mankey and Primate. The battle against Chuck is something else, just watch. We take down his Primate using Pidgeotto and Gust. When it lowers our defense, we switch to one of our weak mons to reset the defense drop, and a second Gust and Quick Attack sees it off. Poliwrath is out next. I know how much of a beast this mon is, especially against my pathetic team. I use Rattata, which is half its level, to chip away at its health as it misses not one, not two, but 4 dynamic punches before finally landing its 5th attack. We then chip away its health and accuracy with Pidgeotto and Totodile before finally sending in Geodude to, you guessed it, use self-destruct and win. It might be a dirty win, but we'll take it. So, after the 5th gym, we've seen just 43 Pokemon. We fly back to Cherry Grove City where we can collect the Mystic Water by talking to this NPC, which will help us to keep Totodile competitive until we can pick up a better water Pokemon. If you thought we were lucky against Chuck, then you'd be amazed how we fare against Jasmine. With skipping so many trainers and wild encounters, we're laughably underleveled. She uses 2 level 30 Magnemites and a Steelix at 35. Just to put that in perspective, our main 3 Pokemon that have gotten us this far are levels 22, 25 and 26. Jasmine's team's combined total is 22 more than ours. But despite that, we take down her first Magnemite with a single magnitude after it misses Sonic Boom. We manage to land a single sand attack with Pidgeotto on her Steelix before it knocks us out with Iron Tail. We now go on the offensive with Totodile, using Surf to take off just 25% of its health. Jasmine switches tactics, setting up Sunny Day, reducing the damage of our water type attacks. So even with the damage boost from Mystic Water, we're going to need a lot of luck on our side to avoid several Iron Tail attacks. But wouldn't you know it, Steelix fails to land a single attack, even though Jasmine prolongs the battle with a Hyper Potion. His second Magnemite also goes down easily too. How did I win that? I remember struggling for hours as a child trying to get past this section of the game, and yet I've won with a ragtag team of half-useless Pokemon. 6 gyms down, and we've seen just 45 Pokemon, or 17.9% of the total Pokedex. Don't know what that was. Before progressing, my original plan was to catch a Machop from Mount Mortar to give us a type advantage over the upcoming Ice and Dark Pokemon. However, by catching a Drowsy, we can trade it for a Machop in the Goldenrod department store. The advantage of doing it this way is that it will get an experience boost as it's traded, which will come in handy considering that we're already underleveled. Next up is the Lake of Rage, which we can get to via Route 42 and Route 43. I imagine most players usually head through the grass to the left of the checkpoint, but not us. We use the rocket-controlled gate. This usually costs 1,000 Pokedollars, but did you know that the grunts will still let you pass even if you can't afford it? They'll just take whatever money you have left and leave you with 0. We take the gate as it allows us to avoid random encounters of some of the early trainers on this route. The rest of the trainers we can avoid by taking this very unusual route I'm showing on screen now. It requires a lot of backtracking and surfing, and a couple of super repels. To progress the story, we have to battle the shiny Gyarados. We might as well catch it for our team to replace Totodile, which isn't pulling its weight anymore. Back in Mahogany Town, we don't register Dragonite to the Pokedex, even after watching it Hyper Beam this man. As we progress through the Team Rocket hideout, we have to pass the Persian statues. Each time we do, we have to battle the same 2 Rocket Grunts who use a combination of Zubat, Drowsy, Grimer, and Rattata. So, we add Grimer to our total. I could turn off these encounters, but it's a great spot to gain money and experience without the risk of accidentally increasing our Pokedex count. Blocking the way to the first password holder is one of the Rocket Scientists, so we add Ditto to our total. We're forced to increase our total as the Rocket Grunt with the password uses Raticate. The second password is also guarded by another Rocket Grunt who uses the previously unseen Gloom, bringing us to 50. With both passwords, we can access the room where the Team Rocket executive is hiding. He doesn't add any new Pokemon, and neither does the overworld sprite of Murkrow in the corner, even though we have a Pokedex. I can just hear Oak in the background. Hoenn, now is the time to use this. Avoiding Murkrow is short-lived, however, as the very next battle adds both it and Arbok. To wrap up this section of the game, we have to knock out the Electrodes. Might as well catch one for our team. When I was thinking of this challenge, I expected I would have to battle at least 2 trainers in Mahogany Town Gym. But take a look at this. There's a clear path that you can take to skip every trainer, but it requires some precise timing to avoid the spinner on the left-hand side of the middle section. Price is an easy battle as we've bulked out our team with some high-level Pokemon. During the battle, we add Seal, Dugong, and Piloswine to our total, bringing us to 56 Pokemon. We put the gym challenge on the back burner as we head to Goldenrod City to liberate the radio tower. We battle all the grunts on floors 1 and 2, and the only new Pokemon we see is Muk from a mandatory battle. On the 3rd floor, this trainer has Weezing. It's not a mandatory battle, but as the Rocket executive will use one anyway, we might as well encounter this mon early for the extra XP and money. We also encounter Golbat earlier than we have to, as our rival will use one soon, so there's no harm seeing it a bit earlier. The final trainer we can't skip is Scientist Rich and his Porygon. The final battle in the radio tower at this point in the story is the Rocket Executive, who has 6 Pokemon, 5 Coughings, oh, and a Wheezing too. Nice diverse team you have there, mate. To continue the story, we have to enter the underground basement, but we can't enter it from the south as there's a Team Rocket grunt blocking the way, so we're forced to enter from the north. There are 2 mandatory trainers here that we skipped on our first journey through Goldenrod City. So, we had Slowpoke and Voltorb. There isn't much of a challenge in the story right now as Team Rocket's Pokemon are so underleveled. We're forced to battle the rival in the basement, and even though I'm starting to build a diverse team, we have some glaringly obvious type matchup issues, but we're able to beat him, increasing our total by 2 with Meganium and Sneasel. There are other trainers in the underground, but they mainly use Coughing and a few other mons we've already seen. The only new Pokemon comes courtesy of one of the robbers who uses Magmar. With the keycard secured, we head back to the radio tower. The only new trainers to battle here are the 2 executives on the final floor. Adding Vileplume, Houndour, and Houndoom, we can finally start to make our way to Blackthorn City. We head east of Mahogany Town and hit Route 44. We avoid the first spinner and then take the water to reach the middle patch of grass and then head back onto the water. This means we can avoid every trainer on this route except the final trainer just outside Ice Cavern. This bird keeper uses 2 Pidgeotto, so there's no increase on this route, and by using repels, we don't encounter any Pokemon on the ice path either. There's nothing much to do in Blackthorn City other than tackling the gym. Battling all of the mandatory trainers here, we come across Dratini, Seadra, Horsey, and Dragonair. The final gym leader in this challenge is Claire. So, how did we get on with our unusual and underleveled team? We brute force our way through her first Dragonair using Strength. Against her second Dragonair, we tried to do the honourable thing and use Thunder twice, but failed both times. So we go for Self-Destruct instead. A third Dragonair? Yeah, a second Self-Destruct from Geodude. We then get lucky and overcome reduced accuracy from Smokescreen to land a few Dragon Rages to beat her Kingdra. So we wrap up the gym challenge with 73 Pokemon seen, or 29% of the Pokedex. Oh, I almost forgot. If you're enjoying the Reverse Oak series or just Pokemon in general, then consider subscribing to my channel so you don't miss out. I'm only a small channel, and anything you can do to help our content reach new people is always appreciated. With that out of the way, let's resume the challenge. The Indigo Plateau is our final destination, so we start the final stretch of the challenge by travelling along Route 26. Outside Tojo Falls, Cool Trainer Megan tries to ambush us, but if we keep moving as soon as we leave, we're able to avoid her and avoid adding the entire Bulbasaur evolution line. Unfortunately, there's no skipping the next trainer though, so we update our total to 76 with Magneton, Quagsire, and Execute. The next set of trainers are all on the boardwalk, but by surfing we can easily avoid them all. There's a single trainer blocking the way north, but he uses a solo Espeon, which we've already seen. The next trainer on Route 27 is a spinner which we can easily get past, but nothing gets past the next trainer, even hugging the wall doesn't work. So, thanks to Cool Trainer Gavin, we had Victreebel and Kingler. Our ball up continues as we're unable to get past Cool Trainer Jake either, as the path to the left of him only allows you to go down and not up. So, we had Parasect and Golduck. Final trainer is, you guessed it, another Cool Trainer who uses Rapidash. What's with these trainers messing up the challenge at the end? That's not very cool of you. Victory Road, if you can call it a road, is barren. Even with a high level Pokemon leading my party and super repels up, we get so many encounters and have to keep resetting. Look at this, we literally get an encounter just by looking in a different direction. As has been the recurring issue in this run, our team is underleveled and we barely squeak past our rivals' Mons, and along the way beats his latest addition, Kadabra. I've not kept track of how many trainers we've skipped, but it must have been over half surely, and that means our team is nowhere near ready to beat the Elite Four. My highest mon is Electrode at 37, and I can't evolve Geodude, Pidgeotto, or Totodile as I haven't seen their evolved forms. So of course, we get wrecked by Will. We do make it halfway through the battle though, so we add Xatu, Jinx, and Slowbro to our total. I can't believe I'm saying this, but his second Xatu, yes, Xatu, is too powerful for us, as its psychic attack one-shots most of our team. I wasn't sure whether to include this section of the challenge because the obvious answer is to just increase our levels, but I want to show you why it's not as simple as that. Victory Road has access to the highest level wild Pokemon at this point in the game. It has Golbat, Graveler, Ursaring, Donphan, Onix, and Rhyhorn. Of these, we've only seen Golbat, which has a 1 in 3 chance of us encountering it. In fact, technically it's not even a 1 in 3 chance, as it's actually 30%. Between the grinding and having to save after every Golbat battle and resetting if we see anything else, this will just take forever. Ah, but Hoenn out here, you say. What about catching other Pokemon to improve your team? After all, you've seen 85 Pokemon, including some Dark types. You're right, but you want to guess how many of those I can actually catch? The remaining 30 include weak Pokemon like Ditto, or Mons I can't evolve because I've not seen their evolved forms yet, such as Growlithe, Marill, Metapod, Venonat, Snubbull, and a dozen other useless Mons. Yes, some Pokemon like Rapidash and Sneasel appear on the map, but they can't be caught until Mount Silver. So basically, to keep our scene total as low as possible, we'll have to make do with only the Pokemon we've both seen and are able to catch. So we head back to New Bark Town to visit the Professor and show him our Pokedex, which is about to get slightly more filled up, just like our rival's mum. We catch Ghastly, Quagsire, Golbat and Magnemite and increase our levels by constantly battling Will. We lose every time, but the XP we gain and the time we save is better than the alternative of grinding a Victory Road. During this grinding, we finally managed to beat Will and join the battle add Executor to our total. We're nearly there, folks. Koga is our next challenge and he uses Ariados, Venomoth, Forretress and... oh jeez, will you look at Crobat's face? What is going on? Okay, time for Bruno, who adds Hitmontop, Onyx and Machamp, bringing us to 93. Karen has no new Pokemon to our total, which leaves just the champion, Lance. Lance uses 3 new Pokemon we've not seen, Dragonite, Charizard and Aerodactyl. So, the least amount of Pokemon you can see while completing Pokemon Gold is 96, or just 38% of the Pokedex. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then click here to watch another challenge video, or here to watch my Reverse Oak Challenge playlist. Until next time, remember to flex your inner geek. See ya!